What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if we should be worried about Dying Light 2. Now, I want to have this be kind of a fun discussion video, kind of give my thoughts on what's been going on with Dying Light 2. I don't want to make it sound, even though the title obviously kind of makes it seem like that, I don't want it to sound super, serious, super, like doomsday, because ultimately, I'm going to answer the question right now. Should we be worried about Dying Light 2? My response is no. One specific aspect I do want to talk about, though, is the concerning or the weird way that they handled when it's going to release. I do want to talk about that, but overall, from everything I've seen, everything that I've heard, everything that I've read, I really don't believe there's any reason to be overly concerned. Obviously, anything could happen. I'm not guaranteeing you that this game is going to be a 10 out of 10 game. There's no way of proving that, but there's also no way of proving it's going to be a garbage game, right? There's absolutely no way. But let's start out with that kind of weird discussion about the release date first. This game was supposed to originally come out in 2019, okay? Not that long ago. Obviously, it hasn't been that long since we were in 2019, but this was a game that was supposed to come out in, I believe, the fall of 2019. It was then delayed till spring of 2020, and even Techland has even said, that was the time that they had intended for this game to release. Now, it has been pushed indefinitely. This is not new news, by the way. This is a game. I really love the first one. A lot of my friends have really loved the first Dying Light. I'm very, very excited for the second one. I think the second one can be an absolutely amazing game. So again, this isn't news. Yesterday they announced it's delayed indefinitely. This has been around for a while, but this is just something I wanted to talk about for the first time on this channel. But again, I'm really, really pumped for it. And it was supposed to come out this spring. I was ready to go. I was actually expecting it again, in the fall around the same time as a Watch Dogs Legion, and that game gets pushed. Weirdly enough, we are actually in a time period where games are just they feel totally cool by just saying hey, we're indefinitely moving you. Last of Us Part 2 going to come out in a month and a half. Nah, we're going to move you indefinitely. We won't talk about it yet. And again, I've talked about that in other videos as well. I do believe that'll eventually get a release date. I think that'll get a release date rather soon. That one's a little bit different, I think, than Dying Light 2, than Watch Dogs. Both of those games are examples, again, of games that were supposed to come out a couple times and then moved, and then at some point, it was just decided, you know what, we're not going to give a window, we're not going to give a date, we're just going to say moved indefinitely. However, that is a little alarming. Whenever a game gets moved indefinitely, or whenever a movie gets moved indefinitely, it can cause concern. I really don't think it's a negative thing to say something like that. I really don't. I think it's kind of normal that a lot of people would believe that. The game was supposed to come out this spring, and now they say, you know what, we need more time to do all this stuff, and we're moving it indefinitely. That's a little bit of a cause for concern. They've confirmed this game is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. So this is a next-gen game. Now, does that mean exclusively? No, absolutely not. I think it'll be obviously cross-gen. So it'll be on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, which is fine. And by the way, again, to get out ahead of this stuff, I'm completely okay with them taking their time. I'm not a person that says, hey, I want the game tomorrow. Of course, we would all want it, but I'm not demanding that they release the game the next day. I just want to make that clear, right? Delays are ultimately a good thing, gives them a lot more time to polish. I want the best possible game they can give me. If I need to wait longer for it, I'm going to do that. So, I just want to make sure, that's all said. You guys all understand where I'm coming from. But again, it is also still okay to say, yeah, we're okay with delays, we're okay with pushing it, but for it to come out, supposed to come out last fall, then it was supposed to come out in the spring. Now we don't know. I don't know if it would come out this fall. I feel like it's possible, but I don't feel like it's the most likely thing in the world because honestly, we don't even know 100%. Yes, Sony and Microsoft have said it, but we don't have complete confirmation that these systems, the next-gen systems, are coming out in the fall. Now again, would that prevent Dying Light 2 from releasing? Maybe not, because it could just come out on current gen and then eventually have the next-gen version afterwards. They've even talked about ray tracing over the last couple of days. Things are getting exciting. And so when it comes to the negatives, should we be worried about this game? That is a little worrisome. I hope that over the next couple months, they can give a definitive, okay, here's when it's coming. It's coming November 15th or whatever they want to say. I really do want that, and I think that a lot of people probably are looking for that because this is a very special game. This is, again, the first game was, I think, a huge surprise that I don't think a lot of people were really expecting Dying Light to be something incredible. They're definitely to stand out, obviously, right, like in the way that it did, but it did absolutely incredible, and again, I think that got a lot of people pumped up for a Dying Light 2, so that's something that I would want. But beyond that, guys, this game has, and by the way, it always has, this game has always sounded really, really cool. Obviously, like going full-scale RPG, using a person that was influential in Fallout New Vegas. Any game that he makes, I think he immediately helps it, so I'm glad to hear that they have like that kind of talent there. But everything sounds amazing. Set 15 years after the first game. Again, not necessarily like a linear story. You're going to have like different dialogue options that will change the way you play it. More RPG, crazy amounts of things to do. It's going to be like a 100-plus hour game, and all campaign would be significantly shorter, but there's lots to do in that game. So everything sounds very, very positive. And honestly, even going back to the delay stuff, you could look at it and just say, well, they need more time. They have a massive, massive game. They're definitely like upscaling everything that they did with the first game, and they just need more time to realize their vision. And that's, by the way, that's completely fine. And I'm sure that is the reasoning. It's just when you say it's indefinite, that I don't really think you necessarily have to do that. Honestly, I would like to know what would happen to a game, just as an experiment. I don't know if a game would actually do this, but to consistently just give far out release dates and then keep delaying it, right? Because if you do it indefinitely, they could just say November 10th, and then when it gets close to that, they can just delay it again to another date. That's definitely an aside thing, but I wonder, I'm sure actually games have probably done that in the past as well. Maybe like a game like The Last Guardian. They jumped around years, but I don't necessarily think dates. But I'm very excited. This is, again, a game that I really, really wanted to get my hands on a long time ago. I'm very, very pumped for this game. Again, I was like bracing, going through like financials for like the fall period. Fall obviously always has like so many games that come out, and people can't get every game, by the way, right? People are strapped for cash. You can only get so many games. And so even myself, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to imagine Watch Dogs and Dying Light coming out. How does that affect things? Am I going to be able to get this game or that game? Should I wait for Black Friday for one of these games? And then as these games got delayed, there was a sense of, oh, dang it, like I really want to play that. There was also a sense of, well, at least I don't have to pay for it. Now I can obviously focus on all of the other games. I believe Doom was supposed to come out in the fall as well. So we just have all these games that moved from the fall to the spring, and now some of those games are finally fulfilled. They're all finally coming out, and some of them have been moved yet again. But I am very, very excited for it. I do think there's room to be cautiously optimistic. Again, even though everything sounds really good, like the positives of this game, they all sound really good. You still obviously have to watch out, right? A lot of things can change. I think they are to be trusted. I'm not saying like, oh, they're lying to us, or we have to be careful about that. I think they believe everything that they're saying. I think that, again, the first game was really, really good. There's really no reason to doubt that they're going to do a really good job with this game, but you do have to be prepared, I think. And with a game that's had this many delays, sometimes that can catch up. Sometimes when games get delayed this much, it ends up becoming a thing where they are doing it for a specific reason, and they just can't get that thing to work in the game, and then maybe they wasted that time delaying it. So there can be, by the way, issues with delaying games. It doesn't necessarily guarantee an amazing game, but I'm willing to wait. I think a lot of people are willing to wait. This could truly be, especially because of open world, obviously zombies, but because it's open world and it's going to be so big, this can be one of like the leaders of next gen games. Truly can. Like this, the next Assassin's Creed game, those games could truly like lead in open world wise. I guess it may not lead us in other regards, right? Maybe like the first Uncharted game, or like Halo Infinite would be a good benchmark for Microsoft, right, for Series X. Like there's going to be certain games that have that like start to lead everybody else. Dying Light 2, I don't think a lot of people would have expected it, but truly I think it could be looked at, once we're done with it and once we have moved a couple years after, that could be what we all say and say, you know what, that kind of like, that was one of the first big ones like that, Assassin's Creed, maybe Watch Dogs, right, if that's a next gen, like a cross-generation game. These are all games that can do it and that showed off the technology early and that like did actually really, really well, right? Like everybody loved it. And so I think those are definitely positive things to keep in mind, although there obviously are some negatives as well. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Are you guys excited for Dying Light 2? Did you play the first game? Are you ready for the second game? All of your thoughts Dying Light 2 related, let me know in the the comments below. I'd love to make more of these videos. If Dying Light 2 is a popular subject, if this video does well, again, if you guys are liking it, all that kind of stuff, I can definitely do more videos. And we will, by the way, be covering this game once we get more information, once the game gets closer, once the game comes out. We'll be covering it on this channel, on my second channel, and all that kind of stuff. So definitely some Dying Light 2 stuff coming on this channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed, have that bell icon turned on so you know when all of these videos go up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly, truly do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.